everyone, and welcome to Elston Expressions. My name is Evelyn Elston. In this video, I'm going to show you how to cut and assemble a card inspired by Anna Griffin called an explosion card. There are 5 preliminary points I would like to make about this style of card. 1. The card can be used for multiple occasions. It lends itself well to birthdays, get well, congratulations, wedding, etc. 2. The card works well to give to single individuals or groups of individuals. 3. This is also one of those unique cards that can be designed for a female or a male audience, depending on the paper and the embellishments that you use. 4. The construction of the base card takes only about 20 minutes. 5. Both the difficulty level of creating the card from scratch in Design Space and the difficulty level of assembling the card is low intermediate. Now I would like to show you some samples of a finished explosion card. This is one of my favorites. This blue birthday card looks like a standard 5x7 card with 3D layers on the front. But when you look at it from the side as you open the card, you are immediately aware this is no ordinary greeting card. The card opens to reveal a mechanism with a specialty fold that provides a gorgeous surface on which you can add more design elements, more embellishments, and a message area, all in a unique style. The folding of the card mechanism is very similar to making a traditional folded paper hat, but the adhering of the mechanism to the inside of the card is what makes it work. Here's a second sample of an explosion card. Again, when you open the card to the inside, you get a surprise. The card can be serious, elegant, and opulent, or amusing and appreciative. The final card I'm going to share with you shows the interest you can add to the card through the use of pop-up dots on layers, as well as coordinated themes and papers. Speaking of paper, this explosion card is made from 2 separate sheets of paper. Both of the papers need to be printed front and back. In other words, double-sided. I highly recommend good quality paper of 80-pound or better because of the opening and closing of the mechanism. If you are a beginner, you might want to start with the same color or pattern on both the front and back, making it easier to add embellishments and messages as your focal points. Another alternative is to use complementary colors or patterns. Here are some examples. Finally, if you have access to a printer that can handle 12-inch by 12-inch paper, you might want to print a digital pattern on the front and or back of your paper. If you do not own such a printer, many stores that do printing, such as Staples, Office Depot, etc., will print on 12-inch by 12-inch paper. Digital paper designs can be downloaded from a number of places on the web and are available from both Cricut and Silhouette. Again, here are some examples. Now that you know the style of the card, the difficulty level of construction, and about the paper you should use, Let's get started. In the description below this video, I have posted a link to where you can find my finished file in Design Space. When you click on the link, it will take you to a page that looks like this. It opens with a photograph at the top. Below that is a brief title and a description. If you use the scroll bar on the right-hand side of the screen and scroll down, you will see more information about images and fonts used in this project. The circle, line, and square are all free basic shapes available in Design Space from the toolbar on the left-hand side. The font is Cricut Sans and is also free. Now, if we click on the Customize button at the bottom of the window, we will enter Cricut Design Space. It will take a few moments for the file to load. When it does open, you are not going to be able to see all of the components. I suggest you go down to the bottom left corner of the screen and click on the minus button 2 times. This will make it possible for you to see all of the pieces of the file. We are also going to change the color of the canvas to make the components easier to see. We do this by going to the bottom of the Layers panel on the right and clicking once on the circle in the line where it says Blank Canvas. This brings up the color palette. We want a light blue, so in the color palette at the top, let's click on the square that says Forget-Me-Not. Now, this is a nice color, but I think it would be easier to see if the color were a lighter blue. Toward that end, let's go down to the custom square, put the plus inside of the circle, and drag up and over to the left and let go. You see nothing has changed on your Design Space screen. That's because you haven't yet told Cricut that that's the color you've selected. To do this, you just click one time in that circle and you've alerted Cricut to change your color. This is a much easier color to see. To close the color palette window, click one time anywhere in Design Space. The color you have selected for the canvas is not permanent, and it will not print. So if you close the file and then you reopen it, you will need to reestablish the canvas color. Now you can clearly see the 3 components that make up this file. They are the inside of the front cover of the card, the internal mechanism of the card, and some information. The first picture on the left is the inside of the cover of the card. It will be 7 inches from the left side of the card to the right side of the card. It will be slightly larger than 5 inches from top to bottom when folded. This template is made from the top to the score line at 5.12 and from the score line to the bottom again at 5.12, making the total measurement from top to bottom 10.24. I did this because with the bulk of the mechanism paper folded and any embellishments that I added, it just made it easier for the paper to fit. There is also a score line that extends from the left-hand side to the right-hand side of the card, halfway between the top and bottom edges. This is to fold the card cover in half. A small dot is drawn with the Cricut on the inside of the card at the midway point, left to right, and just below the score line. This is a glue point, a starting point for where to place the mechanism. It does not show, but it is a great help when lining up the mechanism. The next picture is the inside or mechanism of the card. This mechanism piece will need to be cut from a sheet of 12-inch by 12-inch paper, remember, printed on both the front and the back. With it, you will create a 10-inch square. There is a horizontal score line that extends from the left to the right side of the paper across the middle, halfway down from the top. Next, there is a score line that extends diagonally from the top left corner to the bottom right corner, and a matching diagonal score line from the top right corner to the bottom left corner. Finally, in each corner, there is a 2-inch horizontal score line and a 2-inch vertical score line. They meet at the corner and at the apex of one of the diagonal lines. There are 4 of these, 1 for each corner. The third and final thing in this file is a description on the right-hand side of the screen. It has more background information, including a reference to Anna Griffin on hsn.com. You can hide, delete, or ignore this information before clicking on the Make It button. At this point, you are ready to load your paper onto your mat. Click the Make It button at the top right side of your screen and send it through your Cricut to be cut. At this point, we are ready to fold the 2 main pieces of this card. We will start with the cover. This is the outside of the cover. This is the inside of the cover. Remember, the inside has the small dot. Fold evenly along the score line, matching the top and the bottom. Taking your finger, press in the center and rub out to the edge. Start again in the center and rub out to the edge. This ensures an even fold. Next, with a bone folder, burnish the fold. And now to fold the inside of the card. This is the 10-inch square that was cut out on the Cricut. I have traced over all of the score lines in a black marker to make it easier for you to see. Yours will not have the black lines. We are going to begin by folding the paper in half on the horizontal score line. This will change our square into a rectangle. We're matching up these 2 edges as best we can, holding them down with one hand, taking my finger on the other hand and pressing and rubbing up to the top and down to the bottom. Finally, using a bone folder, I'm going to burnish this edge. Now I am going to open this and place it flat down on my desk with the mountain point of that crease facing up. The next thing we want to do is fold one corner of the paper evenly to the opposite corner, creating a triangle. So I'm going to take this corner and take it up to the opposite corner, creating a triangle. Holding it with one hand, I'm going to run my finger up to the edge, down to the edge, and burnish using my bone folder. Now I'm going to fold the opposite diagonal crease line from corner to corner, making the opposite triangle. So I'm going to go from this corner to this corner, folding it, holding it, starting in the center, rub up, starting in the center, rub down, use my bone folder, and crease a burnished line. I end by, again, opening the card. This next section of the fold is a little bit tricky. I've opened up the 10-inch square and I have it so that you can see the lines, and the center fold is horizontal. I'm going to take the top edge and fold it back down on that horizontal line. Now, you have a diagonal fold here and a diagonal fold here that you can see. Putting my hand on one side of the paper, I'm going to deal with this diagonal fold first. I want to take this corner, I'm up on the fold, and I want to move it so that it goes inside of the other piece. Let me take it back out and show you again. Here I have the rectangle. Fold is at the top. I'm going to put my hand down. I'm going to go to the folded edge, and I want to fold this so that it goes in to the inside of the original rectangle. I want to push it all the way down so that it lays flat. And to ensure that it lays flat, I'm going to use my bone folder and crease that seam. I want to now repeat that activity on the other side. It might be easier to flip the whole thing over and repeat, or it might be easier to just take this corner and put it inside. I'm going to do it first by taking the corner, opening it slightly, and pushing it inside, folding it down, and burnishing. Now I'll repeat. I'm going to, this time, flip it over so that it looks exactly the way it did when we did the first one. Hold it down with one hand, take the corner at the fold, and fold it in, and burnish. It looks now a little bit like one of those paper hats. The next thing that we are going to do is deal with these little triangles in each of the four corners. To do this, I'm going to put my hand down, take the point of the corner, lift it slightly, and push it in so that it folds on these fold lines. I will, of course, take my bone folder and burnish it. Now, let's do the opposite side. Take the corner, lift it slightly, and push it in. Press it down and burnish with the bone folder. I have two of them finished. I need to flip the entire folded mechanism over, start again, hold it down, take the corner, lift it slightly, and push it in. Burnish. hold it down, take the corner, lift it slightly, push it in, burnish. Now your finished piece will look like this. Next, we're going to apply adhesive to the top and bottom of the shape that you just folded. I suggest using red line tape or tear tape. You need an adhesive that is extremely strong holding. It doesn't have to be very maneuverable once you put it in place, but it does need to be able to hold. Now, I have done, for the sake of speeding up the video, red line tape on the top and on the bottom. You'll see that I've put it along each of the edges as well as across the center. This next part is what I call peekaboo. We are going to put the mechanism on the inside of the cover of the card. I call it peekaboo because sometimes there is an up and a down to the paper on the inside of the card. You want to make sure that this is oriented in the correct position. I can't tell you how many times I've put together a card and it's been upside down. So, to help you not to make that mistake, what I suggest you do is take a peek at the inside of your card. You want to have the part that is going to be on the bottom of the card when it opens up sitting on your desktop. So my finger is sitting on the part that will be on the bottom. To open it up and prove it to you, this is going to be the bottom of the card. So this is going to be the section where I work on the tape first. Let me close this and flip it over. This will be the side where I take the red line tape off first. I'm going to pause the video at this point to remove the red line tape. Now we are going to place the mechanism on the inside of the cover of the card. When I open the card, remember there was a little tiny dot that I said you would not see? It is right there, tucked under the point of the mechanism. I've taken the red line tape off the bottom back side of the mechanism. I've placed the point of the mechanism right on top of that dot. Now, the trick is you do not want the point of the mechanism to touch or to cross the center score line. You want it to be below. Once you have your mechanism in place, you simply press it down, put your finger along the edge, making sure all of the score line tape is in place. Now, to speed up the process, I've also removed the score line tape from the top side of the mechanism, and all you have to do is flip this cover over, press it down, and your mechanism and card is in place. This is what it looks like when I open it. This is where your creativity emerges as you decorate the outside and inside of the card. There are so many options from which to choose. Here are a few of the materials you might use. In the description below this video, I have listed some of the Anna Griffin cartridges where I have gotten inspiration as well as images. Speaking of embellishments, when you go to a store to purchase a greeting card, and you turn it over, on the back you will find the name of the company that created the card. Since you have taken the time, the care, the cost, and the creativity to make this card, you might want to consider giving credit where credit is due. I place a tag on the back of each card I make. Sometimes I include the same font that was in the card. Sometimes I pick up a decorative element. And sometimes I just match the shape of the label I might be putting on the outside of the envelope. Lastly, I would like to offer my congratulations on making your first Anna Griffin style explosion card. In closing, I would like to thank you for watching one of my first Elston expression videos. If you learned something today, please click on the like button. And if you want to see more videos like this, then please subscribe to my channel. Finally, if you are going to save my design space file, I ask that you do so as private. That's all for now. Goodbye from Elston Expressions, where creativity lives within. So, explore the possibilities.